Parents of Reddit, what's the most embarrassing thing you've ever caught your child doing? Once heard a story of my cousin 5 at the time called the cops on my aunt because her dad was hurting her mom. Cops come. She lets him in and the cops bust in on my aunt and uncle banging away. I'm a 911 dispatcher. This actually happens. I've said it on another thread. My son was 2 at the time. We were eating Frosted Flakes out of the box. Sitting on the couch. He was nudie. It was his always naked phase. I just happened to look over and see him wiping the flakes on his penis. Then eat them. I say new. Really loud and reach to grab the box from him. His eyes widen. He knows I'm going to take them. So he starts frantically grabbing all of the pieces that fell around him on the couch and furiously rubbing them onto his penis and jamming them in his mouth. It's a story I'm saving for my toast at his wedding. My little sister was a bad sleepwalker. I was woken one night by a motionless silhouette in the middle of my room. Turned the light on to ask her WTF she was doing. And she proceeds to squat and piss all over the carpet. All the while keeping a stone cold, unblinking stare locked right on me. Some exorcist tea right there. A little late. But my proud mom moment. When my oldest was 3 he liked to get up in the middle of the night and wander the house. To keep him from doing this, we installed a baby gate in his bedroom doorway. If he got up, he would play safely with his toys until I heard him and put him back to bed. On one fateful night, a night I love to remind him of to this day, I awoke to a very strange sound. It sounded like water hitting a tin roof. I checked the newborn. Asleep. Husband. Snoring away. Looked out into the hallway. There, illuminated by the glow of a nightlight, was a perfectly arched stream of pee from a tiny peen sticking through the slats of the baby gate. All the way across the hall. Hitting my washing machine. The devil child chose that moment to giggle with glee. My brother and I were homeschooled. That week we were covering ancient Greek games and mythology. Being 8 and 6 years old, we decided to recreate it. When my mom walked into our room, the first thing to grab her attention was the soggy carpet. The second was the two of us. Naked. Drenched in stolen massage oil. Locked in fierce combat. Nothing sexual about it. But we wrapped up ancient Greece pretty quickly after that. Haha. More like ancient Greece. I'll just go now. I can't remember this, but I am regularly informed. When I was 2 I was in a hotel with my grandma and granddad. My granddad had a shower and dropped his towel to dry his hair. When I was 3 years old, my male cousin who was also 3 taught me how to pee like a boy, aka standing up and peeing forward. So I called my mom, my aunt, and my grandma into the bathroom to show them. That story always gets told at family gatherings. My little brother flooded the toilet once and for a couple months he was scared to use it. Anytime he had to take a shitty after that he did it on the back porch right next to the sliding glass door. He got away with it for a while. We thought it was the dog and my brother even claimed that he saw the dog poop on the porch. My mom was at the neighbors and saw out of their window my brother squatting with his pants around his ankles. He's 20 now and we still never let him live it down. My 2 younger brothers and cousin would get out of baths and while still naked, vigorously rub their genitals on one another and shout, "Weenies unite." When I was about 7 I had drawn eyeballs on my balls and pushed both up until they were next to my shaft, creating eyes and a nose. I then walked into my mother's room naked laughing. Began to push my dong up and down making sniffing noises. I found my mom and began showing her my puppeteering masterpiece. I'm sorry mom. Edit. Thank you so much for the gold. I'm glad my experience could make you laugh lol. That would be a Squidward according to the Urban Dictionary. When I was little I found all my mom's maxi pads and I tore them all and stripped completely naked and made a bodysuit completely out of maxi pads. Not me, but my mom is a 4th grade teacher and one day she turned around from the whiteboard and saw a girl hand down her pants furiously masturbating as class. When she asked what she was doing, she just said, "It feels good." She called her parents to tell them to talk to her about it, and apparently this wasn't the first time. Nor the last. She's been caught multiple times and the parents have no idea what to do. That is actually ridiculously common amongst primary aged school children. We had a whole tutorial about how to deal with inappropriate behavior at uni. Source. When I was about 2, I pulled some poop out of my diaper and was apparently just walking around with it in my hand. My grandfather saw me and held out his hand, demanding what I had. And I, being the obedient kid that I was, gave it to him. He never asked again when we carried in our hands. I'm getting too old for this shitty. Oh wow. I did the exact same thing to my grandpa. Not a parent, but speaking for my mom. Me and my brother used to take baths together when we were really young. 4 and 5 in this case. After we dried off, we started jumping on the bed naked. Then my brother tells me to put his penis in my mouth because it would be really funny. I told him okay, don't pee in my mouth, and my mom walks in on us laughing away. My brother's dick in my mouth and does absolutely nothing and leaves. Suddenly, I'm feeling much better about my life. Right, Butters? Open your mouth and close your eyes. Here comes the surprise. I left my then 14-year-old daughter in charge of watching her 2 little brothers while I made dinner. She chose to go on Tumblr instead. And the youngest, who was a little over a year, smidged tea all over the TV, some toys, the carpet, and of course himself. That kid is either going to grow up to be an artist or a SZL deviant. Playing a video game while supposed to be doing homework. Switched to PRN when I walked in. Smooth. Smooth. No mom, I swear I'm just whacking it to some lesbians eating each other out. Edit. Fix the apostrophe. Our kid told his preschool teacher that mommy likes finger in the butt. He changed preschools. Edit. Looks like everyone wants a further explanation and details about our ass play. Truth is, I have no idea why he said it or where he heard it. Just something he picked up somewhere, I guess. Other embarrassing moments. Another day at the preschool, I went to pick him up and drop off a check when one of the young ladies asked if we could talk for a minute. Already I knew this could get embarrassing. She said that she was leaning over talking to our boy when he said, "You have nice boobies," with big grin. Another time I was treating him to McDonald's. He was only about 2 at the time and wasn't a big talker. We were inside in line and a Mexican fellow was in line next to us. He tugged on the man's pants real quick, looked up and said "Mo." As in mowing a lawn. That's my boy. Always embarrassing me. We were at a dinner party once, and a few hours in we hear a woman scream from the bathroom. We rush over there, and we find one of the other parents' kids in there. He's 3. Holding the toilet brush. He then smiles and continues proudly to brush his teeth with it. My niece decided not to poop in the toilet but do it in the tub, while her brother was taking a bath. So we took a picture and I have it framed for when she turns 18. When I was 4 or so, my parents woke late at night, early morning, to hear "Ooh, oh, he's naughty, he's so naughty" coming from the living room. This was actually really adorable for some reason. Not my child, but my little brother. When he was in preschool, we got a phone call home. Apparently he shit his pants and straight up asked teacher, "Can you wipe my ass?" My mom was horribly embarrassed, but I could not stop laughing. My daughter, 6 years, pulled this one on the 18th of November. She came home on the 17th and noted that I can fit my whole hand in my pocket and she can only fit half her hand in her pocket. The next day she stuck her hand in a boy's pocket at school to see how deep it was. The teacher saw it and thought she was grabbing his naughty parts. Long story short, I'm currently living with my father-in-law because my child isn't considered to be safe around me. I feel pretty embarrassed and angry right now. I'm a nanny and I watch 3 boys. Ages 1, 3 and 5. The other day while giving the boys a bath, the 3-year-old grabbed his 5-year-old brother's penis, started violently pulling on it and yelled, "I got yapeka, I got yapeka," over and over. I put a stop to that real fast. Not a parent, but I will tell you the most embarrassing thing I did in front of my dad. I was about 5 or so and Rush Hour, Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan had just come out. I was outside jumping on my trampoline while my dad, his friend and a black gentleman were doing some work on the house. Black dude comes up to see what I'm doing, so I use this opportunity to spit some Rush Hour lines. "What's up, my?" You should have seen the look on my dad's face. TL. Doctor said "What's up, my?" to a black guy in front of my dad when I was 5. My sister and I hog-tied our youngest sister, we were ages 10, 9, and 4, with a jump rope in our room and stuck a carrot in her mouth. We had seen it in a cartoon. My mother was mad in front of us but laughed hysterically in the other room. My son playing with a friend of mine's daughter's nether regions at a birthday party. Best 18th birthday party ever. My son is 2 and so far the worst thing is wanting to poke our cat's butthole this one time all the time. Oh yeah, and I heard her meow weird once from the other room. I washed his hands. This one time all the time. My brain. My friend told me that once during a bath he decided it would be a good idea to stick an action figure sword into his urethra. It hurt so bad he had to have his mom pull it out. And then she was crowned King of England. By the power of Grayskull. My son, 1 or 2, was running around all natural when he dropped a deuce on the floor. He screamed bloody murder and then cried for 10 minutes. Performance art. I am the child in the story, not the parent. When I was about 10 or 11 years old I was an over-Z little girl. My bedroom was in the mezzanine of our family apartment. And you had to climb a little set of stairs to get to a partial wall. That means whoever's on the other side can hear everything that's going on in the bedroom extremely clearly. My dad quietly walked up the stairs to wish me a good night right as I was enacting out loud both sides of a scenario where a man was taking my virginity. And I was protesting because it hurt too much. It was very overblown and dramatic. And I repeated it several times before I realized my dad was frozen on the other side of the door. He quietly backed down the stairs while I fell silent. We never mentioned it. People often think that young girls are less weird and effed up than males. Oh boy. They are wrong. When I was a kid I covered the entirety of my genitalia, ball sack, shaft, tip, the whole 9 yards, in Crayola blue marker. If that wasn't enough, my family was in the midst of moving houses and my parents were conferencing W the realtor at the dinner table, you know. When they still did that. From there, I proceeded to unveil my grand masterpiece of sapphire schlong for dear mom and dad, and embarrassed realtor guy, to see. If that wasn't enough, I went to my room, changed, and ran outside making it no more than 10 steps before stepping in dog tea and then tracking it through the house. TL. DR. I may or may not be into blue penis tattoos. Wait. Did you say your penis was 9 whole yards? You blew yourself. Little brother of a friend was expelled from kindergarten for pulling a girl's pants down and giving her a quick kiss on the vagina. She told me I could kiss her on the lips. What a gentleman. Speaking for my mom here. My sister stuck a yellow crayon inside of her vagina at around the age of 6. To this day, I still call her Crayola crotch. When I was about 17 my older brother stuck his head round my bedroom door to tell me dinner was ready. As you do. At this point I'm lying on the bed, genuinely, checking my testes for lumps. One has a small benign cyst so I check them regularly. To him it looks like I'm cracking one out whilst staring intently at a Cannibal Corpse poster that made for an awkward family meal. Former girlfriend's little daughter walked into the living room, naked, and stood in front of the GF. Then, the little girl parted her labia with her fingers and said, "It's all red. Edit." Oh. Sure. This becomes my highest rated post. Goddammit. I got caught viewing hardcore PRN with my friend who was a year older than me. I was 6. My little brother and sister were taking a bath when they were 3. My little sister joked that she was going to bite my little brother's penis. I had a lot of very strange explaining to do. My daughter is 4. She likes to chill out in front of the TV. Spread her legs and pick her nose. She's all class. I have 2 disgusting young boys. My first child was just under 2 when my second son was born. About 6 months after my second son was born, my now 1-2-year-old found the umbilical cord my wife was saving. Completely different story. But long story short, I was not aware she was saving it. And was not happy with her. And was eating it like a piece of beef jerky. It was the most foul smelling thing ever. We caught my youngest son, just over a year at this point, in the bathroom eating the older boy's poop out of the toilet after he had forgot to flush. Needless to say, they're f***ing disgusting. Edit. Just woke up and finished reading the replies. I had no idea this was going to blow up like it did. Also, the gold made me feel like I had sold my kids out for $3. But I'll take it. I'm no father, but a friend of mine caught his son gelling up his pubes. My mother had me when she was 20. When I was 2, she brought me along when she went to some office. I spoke quite clearly for a 2-year-old. And said, out of the blue, "Mom, boys have dicks." Yes. But girls don't have dicks. No. But sometimes they really want a dick. Right? Apparently about a dozen people found this very funny. My mother did not. Me. I just wondered how girls could pee without a dick. Let me preface this story by saying that I am male. That being said, when I was maybe 4 or 5, I, for some reason, really wanted a Barbie doll. This led to my parents having many arguments about it. My dad made the argument that getting me a Barbie doll would make me gay. My mom, however, didn't care if it did and wanted me to have what I wanted. Dad finally cracked and gave her the go-ahead. On Christmas. You could imagine the joy when I finally got what I wanted after all that time. As soon as the family was done opening presents, I took the Barbie and went straight to my room. From what I understand, they left me for a few hours to play and whatnot. When it was time for dinner, Mom came to get me. When she opened the door, what did she see? But her youngest son in bed rubbing the boobies of his brand new doll. And that's the story of how I've been a boob man my whole life. I was the child in this case. I was 2 years old and me and my cousin stripped naked and ran down our street with my mom in hot pursuit. When she eventually caught up, I squatted and took a dump on the road. Facepum. I'm 22 now. Living just behind the alley mentioned. People still remember. I was 4. My older sister, 5. Standing in line in the bank with my mother. Man in front of us wearing a suit. Had a hole in his pants exactly where his butthole would be. My sister spied it and rammed her finger in it to the hilt. Chaos ensued. My mother still classifies this as her most embarrassing moment. Fast forward 23 years. My wife had her new boss and husband over for dinner. My son found my wife's pregnant grandma panties and sent his little sister, 3, out with them on. Naked. Prego panties pulled up to under her chin and goose step around the living room. My wife died of embarrassment. I laughed so hard I became hysterical. During a big family dinner, I saw one of my cousins who was 8. Stuck a ruler in his brother's butt while he said, "I am Andres and this is Jackass." It was insane. My whole side of the family knows. But my cousin doesn't remember supposedly. TL. Dr. Steve-O made my cousins have an L explorations. My 2-year-old boy talks and babbles all day about anything he sees. Full stop. There was one time he was in the doctor's office. And a black man walked in. We live in Asia, so it's 99% Asian here. And my boy points to him and screams, "Brown, brown." I had to cover his mouth to shut him up. Black man proceed to stare me down. I just looked the other way. I caught my son peeing on his twin sister. Not my kid, but had to share. I was visiting a friend. Let's call her Brenda. And we were sitting in her kitchen having coffee and a chat. From off in the living room we hear her 5-year-old son yell loudly. Brenda yells out, "What's wrong, honey?" And he yells back, "It hurts when I do this. Full stop." She replies, "Well, what are you doing?" Her son walks into the kitchen. Tears in his eyes. His penis in his fist. Squeezing it as hard as he can. "It hurts when I do this." We're both stunned. And after a second Brenda says, "Well, don't do that." Her son releases his penis. Wipes a tear from his eye. Nods. And says, "Okay, that feels better." And leaves the room. Still one of the strangest things I have seen.